10 moments. 10 times hip-hop looked at MC Hammer and said, that's it. That's when he sold us out. And I'm gonna show you every single one. The commercials, the lawsuit, the cartoon, the doll, the Speedo, all of it. But here's what nobody tells you when they run this story back. 9 of these moments, you already think you know. The 10th one, the one at number 1, is the one that actually explains where all that money went, and it's not what you were told. You know his name, you know the pants, you know the punchline, you don't know the receipts. Let's get into it. Number 10, the Capital Deal. September 1988. The whispers start before he ever sells 1 million records. September 1988. Stanley Kirk Burrell signs with Capitol Records. Reported advance, $1.75 million. And in certain rooms, that's the day it was over for him. Now here's the setup nobody gives you. Before Capitol, this man was moving tapes out of the trunk of his car. He'd been a bat boy for the Oakland A's as a kid, and when a record deal went bad in the mid-'80s, he went back to those same A's. Borrowed $20,000 each from Mike Davis and Dwayne Murphy and started his own label. Busted Productions, his debut, Feel My Power, produced by Felton Pilate out of Con Funk Shun, moved around 60,000 copies out of a car in Oakland. Then Capitol shows up. And here's the problem. Capitol didn't just sign him and let him make a new record. They took the album he'd already sold to the streets, added tracks, and put it back out as Let's Get It Started. Same record, major label sticker. You remember how that feels, right? When the thing that was yours, the tape you had before anybody, the one you had to explain to people, shows up on the shelf at the mall with a barcode on it, that's where it started. That's the first time anybody said the word. But stay with me, because here's what gets left out. He'd already turned major labels down before, more than once, and when he finally took the money, he ran it straight back into his own company. Between Busted and Bustin' Records, he was carrying more than 100 employees. So the deal everybody called a cash out, he used it to buy the one thing labels never give you, ownership. Nobody wanted to hear that in 1988. Number 9, he didn't clear Super Freak. 1990. This is the one that made it official. You Can't Touch This drops in 1990. And within weeks, the biggest song on the planet is built on a bass line the man didn't ask for. Rick James's Super Freak, 1981. Not chopped, not flipped, not buried under 6 other elements. The riff, running end to end, load bearing, and Hammer's name was the only writing credit on it. Rick sued. Here's where it gets interesting. Rick James had a policy. He was turning rappers down, wouldn't clear anything. By his own account, his lawyers cleared it without asking him, and he found out when a friend told him about it and the record came on the car radio. That's a different kind of disrespect. That's not a business dispute. That's a man hearing his own life's work coming out of a speaker with somebody else's name on it. The case settled out of court. Rick got the songwriting credit, which means Rick got a piece of one of the best-selling singles of the decade. But here's the part that still doesn't sit right with me. That settlement gave Rick James co-writing credit on a Grammy, Best R&B Song 1991, the only Grammy Rick James ever won in his life. And 10 years before that, MTV wouldn't play Super Freak, wouldn't touch it. You can't touch this. Same network put Hammer in heavy rotation and made him a household name off the exact same 8 bars. So think about what actually happened here. The industry ignored the original, then made a fortune off the copy, then gave the original man his only trophy as a legal settlement. Was that Hammer selling out? Or was that the machine doing what the machine does, and Hammer just being the one holding the bag when the music stopped? I know which side I lean. I already know some of y'all lean the other way.
Can't touch this. You better get a hype, boy, because you know you can't.
Number 8. When Oakland itself clowned him. 1990. This one hurt worse than any lawsuit because it came from home. 1990. Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em is on its way to becoming the first hip-hop album ever certified diamond. 10 million copies. Nobody in rap had ever done that. Nobody. That same year, Digital Underground, Oakland, same town, same bay, put out Sex Packets and put Hammer's picture in the CD insert alongside the group as an unnamed nobody, a throwaway. That's not a diss record, that's worse. A diss record means you matter enough to aim at. That was a shrug. And it didn't stop there. Shock G worked a Hammer joke into the Humpty Dance. The D.O.C. and Ice Cube took shots at him in videos. Third Base, before they ever went at Vanilla Ice, had already been throwing pot shots at him, and in the liner notes of the Cactus album, they didn't even use his name. They called him a household tool. Here's what's wild about the timing, though. This is the same stretch where he put out Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em, the movie. A direct-to-video film where he goes back to his old neighborhood, runs a drug dealer out who's using kids to move product, and plays a preacher on the side. So follow this. The man makes a movie about saving his block. And his block puts him in the credits as a stranger. If you've ever gone away, come back with something, and found out your own people had already decided who you were while you were gone, you know exactly what that is. It's not jealousy, it's not even betrayal really, it's just, you don't belong to them anymore, and they let you know without saying a word. He sold 10 million records that year, and couldn't get a nod at the corner store. Number 7. LL Cool J put him in a body bag. June 1990. LL Cool J releases To the Break of Dawn, 3 verses, 3 rappers, Cool Mo D, Ice-T, and in the middle, MC Hammer. And LL didn't play with him. He turned the pants into a body bag joke. Went at the curl, went at the dancing, told him to stop moving and start walking. It's still ranked among the great diss records ever made, and it was recorded by the biggest rapper alive at the time, aimed at the biggest seller alive at the time. Now, everybody who tells this story tells it the same way. Hardcore New York puts the pop guy in his place. Here's what almost nobody tells you. Hammer started it. 2 years earlier, on Let's Get It Started, Hammer put his own name up against LL and Run, and Doug E. Fresh said he was better. Out Loud, on wax, in 1988, from Oakland, when nobody east of Vegas was taking him seriously. Let that sit for a second. The man everybody calls a pop act, the crossover guy, the dancer, the commercial, walked into the deep end, swinging at the East Coast first. And LL confirmed it himself years later. Said he never had beef with Hammer. Said Hammer had beef with him. Said he loves the man. So here's my honest take, and I know it's not the popular one. Hammer catching that fade wasn't proof he was soft. It was proof he thought he belonged in the ring. You don't call out LL Cool J in 1988 unless some part of you still believes you're an MC first and an entertainer second. That's the tension that runs through this entire story. He never stopped thinking he was one of us. The culture had already voted. Number 6. The Pepsi CEO went on tour with him. 1991. For a lot of people, this is where the argument ends. By 1991, MC Hammer isn't in commercials. He is the commercial. Pepsi, Taco Bell, KFC, Toshiba, and British Knights, the sneaker company, built a whole campaign around him, took his #1 record and used it as the marketing hook, and put out an ad telling kids Nikes were what your mother wore. Read that back. A rapper in a sneaker ad, dissing Nike, telling you to switch brands. In 1991, before anybody had a blueprint for what that even was. And here's the detail that makes it real. When Hammer went out on the road, the CEO of Pepsi went with him. Not an executive, not a marketing team. The chief executive of PepsiCo International rode along on the tour in 1991. That's not an endorsement. That's a merger. And I want you to understand the room the culture was standing in when this happened. Rap was still fighting to be taken seriously as a business. Labels were still lowballing. Radio was still scared. And here comes a man from East Oakland with a corporate chief executive on his tour bus. Some people saw a man who'd been bought. Some of us, and I'll count myself, saw a man who figured out the exit before anybody else even found the door. Because every endorsement deal that came after,
We don't know what to feel. We crush the strong and percolate the weak daily. We make our
every rapper with a sneaker, a soda, a chicken sandwich, a whole liquor company, they're walking through a door Hammer kicked open while everybody stood around calling him a sellout for touching the handle. But even the sneaker company had a problem: overexposure.
and I'll hit you with a dose of Oak Town power and charge you by the hour. I'm shaking like a quake and pumps get the
He was in too many places at once, and the ads started stepping on each other. That's the thing about being everywhere. Eventually, being everywhere is the only thing people can see about you. And if you were around then, you know, by the end of 91, you couldn't turn on a television without him being on it. You remember exactly how that started to feel.
at the bottom, now we're leaving weight and yay, I'm having a fit. Kicking it at the top because I'm
Number 5, The Doll and the Cartoon,
Up on High Street at Brookdale Park.
give me the girls with the pumps and a bumps and a
1991. Two things happen in the same year that most people file under the same joke. Mattel puts out an MC Hammer doll, 12 inches, comes with the jacket, the glasses, the boombox, a cassette, and in September, ABC premieres Hammerman,
pumps and a bump. Ow! Pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump. We like to
a Saturday morning cartoon where he plays a youth center worker with magic dancing shoes that turn him into a superhero. 13 episodes. Dick Entertainment. He voiced it himself. You remember this. 10 o'clock, Saturday, ABC. And if you were a kid, you thought it was the greatest thing you'd ever seen. And if you were 16, you were praying nobody in your circle knew you'd watched it. That's the moment a lot of heads point to. Not the Pepsi ad, the cartoon. Because a commercial is a check. A cartoon is an identity.
We like the girls with the pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump.
But here's what I didn't know until I started digging. The doll wasn't a cash grab. Hammer donated his proceeds from it to his own foundation. The MC Hammer Help the Children Foundation, set up for underprivileged kids. And the cartoon?
Pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump. We like the girls with the pumps and a bump.
He recorded a new song for every single episode, and every episode ended with him on camera, out of character, talking to kids about vandalism, about choices, about pressure. He fought to make sure the character stayed a role model. ABC canceled it after one season anyway. So the two things people laugh at hardest, the doll and the cartoon, are the two things he was doing on purpose, for free, aimed at children who look like him. Nobody put that in the joke. Nobody ever does. And whether you think that's noble or whether you think it's still corny, I'll leave that one with you.
Pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump. Give me the girls with the pumps and a bump.
Number 4, he dropped the MC.
It never made me none. Now everybody's saying
Late 1991. This is the one that gets me because this is where he blinked. Late summer, 1991. He drops the MC, just Hammer now. Think about what that letter meant. MC, Master of Ceremonies. That's the credential. That's the thing that says I am part of this culture. I earned this on a microphone. And he let it go, trying to answer the critics by widening out, adding live musicians, real singers, becoming something bigger than rap. October 29th, 1991, Too Legit to Quit. The record sold over 3 million copies. That would be a career for most artists. After 10 million, it was a funeral in the press. And then December, he puts out Adam's Groove for the Addams Family. Number 7 on the Hot 100. Number 1 on the rap chart. Gold record. It was also his last top 10 hit in the United States, ever. And it won a Razzie for Worst Original Song, highest honor and the biggest joke, same record. The tour that followed, the Too Legit Tour, over 115 shows, 2 legs, sponsored by Pepsi and MTV. Do you know who he took out on the road with him? Boys II Men, Jodeci, TLC, Mary J, B.I.G. Sit with that. In 1992, before most of them had their moment, the man everybody had already written off as a sellout was giving them stages every night. He was the last real superstar of one era and the launch pad for the next one at the exact same time, and got credit for neither. That tour was so expensive, the dancers, the band, the singers, the production, that the album couldn't pay for it. They canceled it partway through. The show got too big for the man carrying it, and after that, he stopped touring. Number 3, Pumps in a Bump. February 1994. This is the one where you feel the desperation. The Chronic had come out, the center of gravity in hip-hop had moved, gangsta rap was the whole board, and Hammer, the man who made Pray, the man who covered the Shy Lights, the man from the Saturday morning cartoon, decided he was going to run at it head on. The Funky Headhunter, G-Funk, Harder Beats, the Dog Pound on the record, Teddy Riley in the credits, and the first single is Pumps and a Bump. The video is him in a leopard Speedo, women in bikinis. The whole thing's so sexually loaded that MTV banned it outright. Banned it. They wouldn't run it. So he shot a second version, fully clothed, Deion Sanders in it, Falcons gear, put it out as a remix video. Think about what that actually is. A grown man, one of the biggest stars of the decade, doing a second take on his own reinvention because the first take was too much, and the culture was going to laugh either way. Here's what makes it worse. That same year, in an interview in Britain, Hammer explained himself plainly, said he wasn't claiming to be hardcore. Said he was changing with the times, not pretending to be somebody he wasn't. Nobody listened, because by then, the story about him was more entertaining than the man. The album went platinum, by the way, around 1.5 million. Which by 1994 standards is a real number, but it didn't buy him a single inch of respect back from the people whose respect he actually wanted. And if you've ever changed yourself to be accepted somewhere and then watched them reject the new version even harder than they rejected the old one, you already know the specific flavor of that. You didn't lose the argument. You lost yourself in the argument. Those are different injuries. Number 2, Death Row. 1995 to 1996. Now it stops being funny. 1995. MC Hammer signs to Death Row Records. I need you to feel how strange that sentence is. The parachute pants, the Pepsi commercials, the Saturday morning cartoon. Signing to the most feared label in America, alongside Snoop and Pac. But it wasn't as random as it looked. Hammer and Suge Knight went back to 1988. Oakland connections, old neighborhood connections, the kind of history that doesn't show up in a press release. He started an album called Too Tight, and this is where it gets heavy.
Let's drink Cristal and hop in the pool. conversate about the
Tupac worked on it directly, wrote for it, produced on it, made reference tracks, Big Daddy Kane on there, Spice One, Johnny J. They recorded Too Late Player together. One of the songs Pac laid down for that project was Unconditional Love. A record the world would eventually hear on Pac's posthumous greatest hits. By all accounts, they became genuinely close. Hammer has talked about Pac being hands-on, generous, welcoming, and about the plans they were making together for youth programs back home.
handle my business in the evening, spend my days with you. If it's true that you really take it.
Then September 7th, 1996, Las Vegas. Hammer was in Vegas that night. Pac died 6 days later. Too Tight never came out. Hammer left death row. And I want to be careful here, because this is the part people skip past to get to the punchline about his money.
Still looking good and healthy like Patty LaBelle's cookie.
A man lost a friend, and the record they made together, the one that was supposed to be the comeback, got shelved and eventually just leaked online years later with a pile of other death row albums nobody ever finished. That's not a career move that failed. That's a friendship that got cut off mid-sentence. Number 1, April 1996, The Payroll. The actual answer. Here's the answer to the question in the title. MC Hammer files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Roughly $9.6 million in assets. About $13 million in debt. Over 200 creditors. Deion Sanders is on the list. He'd loaned Hammer $500,000. And America decided, right there, that it knew exactly what happened. Dumb rapper, gold toilets, blew it. And listen, some of that's true. The Fremont mansion was 40,000 square feet on 12 acres. Italian marble, 2 pools, gold-plated gates, recording studio, baseball diamond. He'd bought the place and then poured tens of millions into it. 19 racehorses at one point. One of them, Dance Floor, ran in the Kentucky Derby, a private jet, helicopters, 17 cars. He listed the house for $6.8 million and sold it in 1997 for $5.3. But here's the number that actually broke him, and it wasn't the house. 200 people on payroll, around $500,000 a month. Now, who were those 200 people? They were from his neighborhood, East Oakland, the block he came up on. Friends, family, people who, if they weren't on his payroll, were going to be somewhere a whole lot worse. Hammer has said it plainly for 30 years, and barely anybody quotes it back. He put them on because he thought money and a purpose could change their lives. He was running a jobs program and calling it an entourage. Saweetie, the rapper, she calls him Uncle Stan. She said her own father was one of Hammer's bodyguards. That's how deep the payroll went, 2 generations deep. So here's the real question, and it's the whole reason we did this. The industry has a word for a man who takes corporate money and gives it back to his block. It's not sellout. That word is for people who take the money and leave. He never left. That's what bankrupted him. He was carrying 200 people out of East Oakland on the back of a pop rap career, and it broke exactly the way you'd expect a thing like that to break.